When you're looking at the majority of 15-inch gaming laptops, manufacturers are going to sacrifice thinness and lightness in order to get the most performance out of their hardware. But in the case of the Lenovo Legion Slim 7, you're getting the best of both worlds. You get a really great chassis that weighs in at just around 4 pounds, and as you can tell from the thumbnail, a super thin form factor for a gaming laptop. And this thing definitely doesn't underdeliver on the performance. So let's take a deep dive into this laptop and see where Lenovo hit some home runs and where they could have done a little bit better. So let's unbox the Lenovo Legion Slim 7, and we'll start off with the power supply. So due to the performance of the Ryzen 7 5800H and the RTX 3060 that the Slim 7 packs, we will need a quite big power supply in order to provide enough power to those components. So we do have a 230 watt power brick. So although the laptop is quite slim and quite light, you will need to lug around this brick along with it in order to keep it powered in longer gaming sessions and just charge it up when it needs some extra juice. So the battery within the laptop is a 71 watt hour battery. It'll last you right around an hour to an hour and a half in heavy gaming with the RTX 3060 discrete graphics card. But in typical usage, web browsing, things like that, you should be looking at 8.5, even 8 hours of sustained battery life. So let's actually unbox the laptop itself, and it comes in this nice sleeved case when you do get it out of the box in order to keep it protected and keep everything looking brand new when it gets in your hands. So as we pull the laptop out of here, you get to see the really nice finish of the Slim 7. Very kind of sleek and understated for a gaming laptop. All blacked out. You do get that iridescent finish on the back little bar behind the screen and on the Legion logo itself, but very understated for a gaming laptop, which is much appreciated if you're going to use this for business or school and not just gaming. So now we get to see the actual finish of this computer. So it's all metallic and it's really, really nice. The chassis itself, very little deck flex, very little twist in this chassis due to its construction, and you even get the one finger lift on the screen. The keyboard and the trackpad are also pretty nice. The trackpad is quite big, which is good. It's not the best trackpad I've ever used, but it is nice. The keyboard, quite tactile, really, really nice for a gaming laptop, and you do even have the numpad. So on the left side of the computer, you do have an SD card reader and a microphone headphone jack. On the back, you have your power and 2 USB Type A's. And then on the right side, you have 2 USB Type C's, one that will charge your computer at 100 watts. Now, the one bad thing about this finish is the fingerprint resistance. It's not really there. But overall, again, like I said, really, really nice with the all black. Now, you can have a physical shutoff on your camera for the laptop. And now we can get an idea of the camera and microphone quality of the Slim 7. Now, the 720p camera isn't the best, but it'll suffice in most Zoom calls and other situations that you'll actually be using the camera. And the mics sound pretty good as well. And the speakers are really nice on this laptop as well. So they're powered by Harman, and they are 2 downward firing speakers. So although they are downward firing, you do get some really good sound out of this computer, especially in gaming. So now if we take the bottom off of the laptop, let's look at some upgradability features of the Legion Slim 7. So there you go. You have the 71 watt hour battery at the bottom, but on the left hand side, you have your NVMe SSD. It's a Samsung 500 gigabyte for this model. You have 16 gigs of RAM, Wi-Fi 6, an extra slot for an NVMe, and of course you have that 5800H from AMD and the RTX 3060. So the 5800H, 8 core, 16 thread, integrated graphics, and then the RTX 3060, 6 gigs of VRAM, which is all you really need for laptop gaming. And let's jump into the actual software that Lenovo includes on this Legion laptop. And you have this My Legion kind of interface that Lenovo provides on the laptop, and it gives you access to pretty much everything you need on your device. So you can see all of the battery details, battery health, battery life, all of that in both the taskbar and in the software itself. But you have access to a lot of other features. You can see GPU, CPU usage, clock speed, your SSD percentage. You can see kind of all the hardware information that you would need, plus a lot of the software pieces as well. So you have macro keys that you can change and enable. You can change your performance mode and things like that. And there's also a lot of nice keyboard shortcuts that Lenovo provides out of the box. So if you do FN and R, you can change the refresh rate from 60 Hertz to 165 Hertz. So this panel is a 1080p 165 Hertz display that provides really good color accuracy and, will look amazing in game, which you will see. And you have a bunch of other options. So function and spacebar will change the lighting effects on the keyboard, which we'll look at right now. So Lenovo uses Corsair IQ for all their lighting effects for the keyboard. So you can use IQ in order to update those settings. And like I said with the display, 165 Hertz out of the box, and that can be changed to 60 Hertz within your display settings on the laptop. Another keyboard shortcut that Lenovo provides is FN and Q, and that will change between those performance modes. So you can go performance mode or balance mode or eco mode, all with the touch of a button on your keyboard. And if we jump over into NVIDIA Control Panel, you can see that we have a couple different options of how we want to use the graphics capabilities of this machine. So the 5800H, of course, has an integrated graphics processor in it, but you do have the RTX 3060. So if you want to save some battery life, you can use the integrated GPU of the Ryzen chip, or you can always use your discrete RTX 3060, which is what we're going to set it up as. So we're going to leave it at 165 Hertz, but now you can see that the display is showing up as G-Sync, whereas it wouldn't if you're going to use the integrated graphics of the Ryzen processor. But now let's jump into some games and show you the actual performance of this gaming laptop. So within Halo, we were able to see 165 Hertz, steady, no issues there. Of course, Master Chief Collection is quite a light game to run, but seeing that we can run it at the 165 Hertz mark really takes the full advantage of this laptop and the display and allows you to get fully immersed with the laptop experience. Now, if we jump over to a little bit more of a demanding game like Apex, I'm going to turn a lot of the settings down to medium, just so that we can up that, those frames for this game. So originally all high, we were looking at right around 90 FPS, but with those changes to medium and low, once we get on the ground, we're averaging 125 FPS in game, and that is a great number for a game like Apex. So the RTX 3060 is quite capable with the 5800H in order to deliver some really good performance. Now, in the gaming sessions, the CPU did get quite warm at 93 degrees C, and the GPU got up to right around 70 degrees C as well. So a little bit warm, but it's not throttling. And in longer sustained gaming sessions, your fan speeds will ramp up, like you can hear. So let's jump into what makes the Legion Slim 7 an amazing laptop. Number one, gaming performance. Performance overall. I mean, the Ryzen 7 5800H at 8 cores and 16 threads, boosting up to 4.3 gigahertz, is going to allow you to pretty much handle any task that your computer is going to have to handle. And the RTX 3060 discrete graphics card handles games with ease, as you saw in Master Chief and in Apex. 165 Hz is plenty doable, and if you can't do it, the NVIDIA G-Sync panel is going to make up for it. And number two has to be the aesthetic of the Slim 7. The all blacked out nature, the little touches of iridescent on the back of the laptop really is what I look for in a gaming machine. I don't need all the frills of having RGB everywhere. The RGB keyboard is plenty enough there. And yeah, it makes for a laptop that you can use in any setting, not just when you're gaming. And then there's some places where Lenovo just did a pretty good job. One of those being the keyboard and trackpad. Pretty good for what they are. Big trackpad, which is always nice, but they're not the best you're ever going to use on a laptop. Another area is the audio and the camera. The microphones and speakers, pretty good on this laptop. The camera, although it's 720p, not terrible if you're just going to use it for Zoom and those kinds of scenarios. But there are definitely some areas where Lenovo could have made some different choices. One of those being the I/O on this machine. So it is really nice having the two USB Type A's. The Type C's bring the extra bandwidth if you need something like HDMI or Ethernet. The SD card reader is also a really nice addition on this laptop, especially if you're going to use it for content creation and you're going to just take the SD card out of your camera and put it in the laptop. But being that the back of this laptop is a little bit thicker, I wish we could have had HDMI on board, Ethernet on board, especially in a gaming machine where you want that extra connection capability of reducing latency and things like that. But overall, I mean, the I/O isn't the worst I've ever seen on a laptop. It's not all USB Type-C. It's not all Thunderbolt. Of course, you can't get Thunderbolt on Ryzen. But it's pretty good for a gaming laptop, but there could have been improvements from Lenovo on that side. The other thing that this laptop is lacking is Windows Hello Face Unlock, but you do have the integrated fingerprint sensor in the power button, which I did not mention before. So that is an option for quicker login. If you don't want to type in a PIN or a password, you do have the fingerprint unlock, but Windows Hello would have also been a nice feature. So overall, this laptop is pretty hard to beat. 165 Hz, 1080p, RTX 3060 and Ryzen 5800H, which are plenty able to take advantage of that 165 Hz refresh rate. Pretty good keyboard and trackpad, audio and camera, okay as well. Lacking on some I/O, but how does this thing compare on price? So MSRP on the Lenovo Legion Slim 7 with this configuration, $1,500, currently marked down to $1,350 on a few different outlets, including Best Buy. I will put a link to that down in the description below. And there are some other specs and configurations of the Slim 7 as well. One with a 4K 60Hz display and a 5900HX. So you do have some potential to increase the performance of this laptop and the screen itself if you did want to do that, but that will of course drive up the price. But how does this thing compare to like an Asus ROG Zephyrus 14-inch or an MSI GS66 15-inch laptop? Both of those models have very similar hardware, RTX 3060s, and then the Asus has a Ryzen 9, and the MSI GS66 has an i7. So very similar in terms of performance, but price-wise, they are both more expensive than this laptop, even at the MSRP of $1,500. But those do have some advantages, including very similar refresh rates. Even the MSI goes up to 240 Hz. How much you're going to be able to take advantage of that refresh rate with the hardware is a little bit questionable, but they definitely beat out the Slim 7 on I/O, having things like HDMI and in Ethernet. However, neither one of those is going to compete with the Slim 7 on the overall form factor of this laptop. If you're looking for something that can still pack a punch in terms of performance, but doesn't, fill your backpack up and weigh a ton, then the Slim 7 is one of the best laptops you can buy to fit that need. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Any questions or comments about this laptop, definitely leave those down below. And if you haven't already, get subscribed to the channel.